Happy Monday. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome, 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 welcome. Happy Monday. Wow, this is the last Monday in April already. Listen, I'm not sure what's going on, but these Mondays just come around way too quick. Evangelist Nikki, I don't know what's going on with the days, the months, the week. We're almost half through the year already. We already finished one quarter of the year, and here it is. We're finishing up April. This is the last Monday, the 24th, right? 6 more days to go in this month. I can't comprehend what's going on, and nonetheless, welcome. Happy Monday. Welcome to another session of Prayer for Marriages with yours truly, Marcia Baker and Evangelist Nikki. I'm telling you, we're just been having fun with these sessions, and we're going to do part 2 tonight. And I remember last week we did setting healthy boundaries in marriage, and right after the broadcast, somebody messaged me and said, "Oh my God, Lady Baker, you are right on time, because there's actually a book." And I didn't know about a book. Did you know that there's a book, Evangelist Nikki, about setting healthy boundaries?
There's quite a few out there, yes. From different perspective. Yes.
I've never came across one. I guess because I wasn't looking for it. See, I'm always doing research for stuff on my own, so I didn't even look to see if there was a book. And when in my research, I didn't even see that there was a book. So yeah, we're going to be talking about setting healthy boundaries in our marriage. And last week we spoke on some boundaries that I thought, when we spoke about what are boundaries, because some persons don't know what boundaries are. Mm-hmm. And so we had to explain what boundaries are. But before we do that, we're going to ask Evangelist Nikki to come on in and greet us a bit and say some stuff about boundaries. Listen, I'm excited. Welcome, Evangelist Nikki.
Definitely. It's good to be back. And listen, when you're living and not surviving, you enjoy every moment, every day, every minute, every second. So even when you can reflect back and say, wow, we almost towards the end of first quarter, we can look back with all the memories that we created along the way. Making these Monday, when they come around, we're excited to be in your company, excited to have you guys tuning in for whatever way you're streaming in. We look forward to have our little dialogue, empowering us, because like I said, we don't know it all. Whatever we share, you guys give us your feedback. It helps us to be better steward, better, well-rounded human being overall. So definitely, I feel like I was just here, as Evangelist alluded to. We were just here, but yes, it's just another Monday. And as she mentioned earlier, we will be debunking on part 2, because like I said, a lot of folks go with the flow, and that's where we get burned out, we get frustrated, because then we're going with expectation that we expect others to meet that have no idea what those are. So that's why it's important to set boundaries. And as Evangelist alluded to, I am yours truly, Nikki McKenzie, one and only. Yes. So good to be in your midst this afternoon as we entered, like I said, towards the end of first quarter. But so much, we have learned so much. And I mean, I am just overwhelmed with joy, with the knowledge and what we're imparting, and the difference that we're seeing, not just in our lives, but with our friends, our family, and you guys who are tuning in. And give us your feedback. Let us know how this is helping you and things that you want us to share. And just to be in this company again, it is definitely an honor. And as we hear the topic again, we'll be doing part 2 and setting healthy boundaries. And just to delve in a little bit, just to recap on what we did last week. First of all, as Evangelist said, what are healthy boundaries? Healthy boundaries are one of the fundamental, or the foundation, so to speak, the basics to start off friendship, courtship. You should already have this before you said I do. And like we said, do not dismay. Like last week, if you didn't know about it, how to set it out, what is even boundaries, nobody told me about it. We don't have that. We just go with the wind. We just go with the flow. It's okay to start. Don't let it get to a point where at no return. Start where you are. That's what we're saying. So it's a foundational aspect of a healthy relationship, whether it be marriage, friendship, whatnot. But we are, again, platform Prayer for Marriages. So we're more focusing on marriages, but it applies to any relationship. To be healthy, any relationship, you need healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries reflect what we want and don't want, as well as what is okay with us and what is not. There are several types of boundaries to consider in this process. And some of this we can touch on that we mentioned last week, like around, like for some of us with time, we need boundaries around time, physical space, emotional space, even material possessions. Someone was talking to me about that the other day. We need boundaries around that. And also, most importantly, in a relationship, in a marital relationship, sexual intimacy. What is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what you can tolerate, what you can't. Have these conversations. Don't just go with the wind. And like I said, there's a lot out there, but these are some of the few that we wanted to zone in on. And, be honest with your person. First, if you have to be honest with what's important to you. Don't just agree with a boundary someone else is setting because you want to go with the flow. If you're okay with the mother-in-law coming over and popping in, or the father-in-law or popping in whenever they feel like it before you get married, and you didn't say anything, don't wait until you get married and you start complaining. You see what I'm saying? If that's something that you do not want, have that conversation. Simple things like that become a problem. So we need to have this conversation ahead of time. And I think those who just a shameless plug, those who missed out last week in our private session, in our Zoom session, and our other sister platform, Before You Said I Do, we have two of our amazing couples that was on the Johnsons. They were on, and there was, what I love what her husband said, because he had an healthy boundary, making his wife a priority. So when any obstacle come, and and those, if it's important to you, let it be known. Because if they're not a priority, any and everything can come and change the direction of your relationship. So those are part of setting healthy boundaries before you said I do. Now that we're there, now that we already said I do, how do we move forward? And that's why we're here to help you. Don't be dismayed. Don't be discouraged. We will help you move forward and how to have those healthy boundaries. Sound good? All right. I think I said a whole lot right there, but y'all get the gist. Just doing, a recap of why is it important, right, Evangelist? So marriage is a commitment.
I'm excited that you said boundaries with intimacy, because that's where I want to start off tonight. Now let me do
Only
this disclaimer.
Let me tell you guys, she don't have no shame when it comes to that, honey. She gonna tell you straight up. She embraced, because it is healthy intimacy that bring connection. It has to be healthy. And how are we gonna get those intimacy to be healthy? By setting boundaries.
By setting boundaries. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna do my disclaimer now. I'm not a person that invite myself to other people's bedroom, nor do I want anybody to invite me to their bedroom. Intimacy is between you and your spouse. However, right? Intimacy is very important. Is very important, right? I don't tell you how many times to have sex, what type of sex, what to do, what not to do. That now is based on you and your partner coming together and deciding how y'all want to flow, right? I don't want nobody to tell me how to flow. So, but intimacy boundary is very important. And we have to understand the misconception about intimacy boundary, because a lot of times that's not discussed. Intimacy is not discussed prior to marriage. And I'm not sure why it's not. And I know in some of our, in the church culture, sex is way taboo, but it's very important, and it's not spoken of until you get married, and then you find out, oh, this person, you're not sexually compatible, right? You find out that you're not sexually compatible because your partner is hypersexual. Could be the male, could be the female, right? And so then now you develop a problem. So that's why you have to understand the misconception about intimacy boundary. Now, in the 1990s movie, Jerry Maguire, y'all know that movie with Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger, where he gives that famous line, "You complete me," right? Now, if I'm going to tell my husband that he complete me, that means everything is okay. And so now years down the road, When I'm not satisfied with the intimacy, I can't complain, or I shouldn't complain, because I said he completed me, right? So before we get all emotional and, oh, you complete me and you make me so happy, and I'm not saying your partner doesn't, make sure it's in every aspect, right? Because intimacy is important, right? Intimacy leads up to you getting to your destination at the end of the night, right? Intimacy is very important. You don't just want to come and bam, you get to the destination. No, intimacy is so important. When I say important, it's important like inhaling and
Oh,
exhaling.
honey, it's oxygen. It is oxygen. We need it to survive. It's the
It's
fuel that
important.
intrigue or passion in marriages. You know,
Yes.
it's the two becoming one. It's healthy.
Mhm. It is. Let me tell you something. It's nothing, because I'm in this group on Facebook where, Wives Anonymous, where they talk about everything. And I see so many wives saying that their husband is not satisfying them. How can they tell them? Listen, that stuff needs to be discussed. Even on your honeymoon. If it's not right on the honeymoon, don't think it's going to get right when you get home. Have a conversation. Now, I know most persons in the church culture, and I say most, not all, most person in the church culture, we don't cohabitate before we get married. We don't have sex prior to marriage. So we're actually going in there sexually blind, right? We know we discuss sex, but we don't know how it's going to be until our honeymoon night. So if on the honeymoon night it's not right, we need to have a conversation, because guess what? Just because it's not right then, that don't mean it cannot change and become better. However, it has to be a conversation to have. You can't just say, okay, tomorrow it's going to be better. Then tomorrow it's worse. And then you don't say nothing. And then the next day it's worse. No, speak now. Like the pastor said when he was getting married, speak now, and don't wait till you get to 3-4 years of not being satisfied, whether you're the male or the female not being satisfied, to talk about it, to explain about it, or you don't say nothing and you just go cheat. We're not having that this year. This year, last year, the years to come, we're not going to be cheating because of the lack of intimacy, because it can be worked out. If you have to go to a sex therapist, do it. They have them out there, right? But sexual understanding the misconception of intimacy is very important, right? Now, we cannot and should not believe that another human being will fully complete us emotionally, and that can be unhealthy.
Yes.
That is so unhealthy. It is unhealthy, because the reason why I say it's unhealthy, because the moment that person stops feeding your emotions, you're going to fall. You're going to collapse. You're going to be devastated, right? So we cannot rely on another person to complete us fully emotionally. It does not make sense. And if Evangelist Nikki always talk about intimacy, and I like her concept, and I like her argument with the intimacy part. Go ahead, Evangelist, and talk about the intimacy. I love to hear her stress the intimacy, because it's so important. It's so, when I say it's important, like the oxygen, it's important. Go ahead, Evangelist Nikki.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, because a lot of folks getting married and surprised that, this is part of what marriage is. It's legal and it's okay, because they be so shunned for so long, talking about that it's taboo. And like I said, a lot of time it's not why we're scared to talk about it. A lot of time we don't even know what to say, because what are you going to compare it to? Who are you going to compare it to? So what we're saying is that set the intimacy boundary based on what you'd like, how you like to be touched. You know what I mean? Even those simple things that we take for granted, because men like the destination, we like the journey. Okay, so it's two different mindsets. They will get straight to the destination, and then you look around like, oh, what happened? Right. So if you like the journey, you have to help them get there. Don't say, babe, I like the journey. help them. What does the journey look like to you? You know what I mean? What does it take to get you there? So we can be on the same page. Don't say, babe, oh, you know, don't just give them a bland thing like I'm not satisfied, because that don't mean, that could mean a whole lot of things, right? Be specific in your need. And that's how we said, when you have those friendship, those conversation, and you're speaking to each other, because remember, sex is before you get to the bedroom. It's the conversation you having, it's the thought, it's the connection, it's the touching, it's all of that that leads up to it. So if you're waiting until you're ready to get in the act to talk to a man when they're ready to go, honey, that's not gonna
work.
Somebody got one or two person gonna be very dissatisfied. I can tell you that. So that's how we said it's healthy when you have those conversations ahead of time, because sexual intimacy has the potential to fuel intrigue and passion. Ignite, you will, I mean, this is the fire that you need, right? For your marriage to thrive. And like I said, there's exception out there. We're talking about healthy relationship and people who want to have healthy relationship. We're talking about those, because like I said, there's no absolute anything, right? So we're talking about those who care for, because some people really, it's not their thing, right? But the mass, we're talking about the average, the majority of relationship fuel and intimacy, right? So valuing one another needs in regards to safety in sexual intimacy foster trust. So when you're not trusting your partner, it will show the way they touch you, how how your body react, right? When you have the wall built up, that they have to feel like they're climbing Mount Eagle to get you down to the valley, right? Because you have something that happened and it triggers you. You see what I'm saying? So you have to let your partner know and setting those boundaries. What type of position, right? We have to talk about those things. How you feel comfortable? Does it hurt? You know, what gives you pleasure? Have those conversations, right? So in order to have sexual intimacy that feels satisfying for all involved, healthy boundaries must be set. And healthy boundaries in marriages, as they pertain to sexual intimacy, are formed through identifying what brings each person pleasure. You know, you might be touching the man's head, rubbing his head, that might not bring him pleasure, right? Where if you rub your forehead or rub your head, that will bring you pleasure, but might not bring him. So ask, where do you like to be touched? What bring you pleasure? And let that person know that we're having those dialogue. If you're asking, if you take the lead to ask those questions, also let them know, this is how I like to be touched. This is what brings me pleasure. This is what I don't like because it makes me feel this way. You see what I'm saying? Don't say, I don't like when you do it like that. There must be a reason, because then you have them wondering, is it something me? Is it me? Is it a trauma? Is it a trigger? Right? So instead of leaving that out there, just explain, babe, I like it better when you rub my back, or you give me a massage, or you rub my feet. Because some people don't like their feet be touched, right? So if the person likes to give massage, which I do love a massage, okay? But if the person does not like it, you're doing an injustice, because that's going to bring that person pleasure. So that's what we're saying. Have these conversations, and this foster trust. So because our body receptive to trust. If we don't feel trust or something triggers up, any human being, automatically we're going to go into flight or fight mode. So our body is going to shut down. It's not going to be invited. And then that's when the displeasure come in, because you're like, oh, I don't like, why are you doing it like that? Why is he touching me like that? If you don't, listen, some folks like to talk in the bedroom. Some people like silence. Some people like to moan. Some people like different things. Some people like, I don't want you to say a word. Some people like to use different type of names and role play and stuff like that. It might work for one person. It might not work for the other. Find a common ground. Find a deep, you know what I mean? Have these conversations, because healthy boundaries in marriage required continued conversation. I might like something last year when we met, or when we just met, later on, it might change. Incorporate this. I might want to try this, but don't just assume. Ask, talk to that person. So relationship, especially intimacy, it takes continued conversation, not just yesterday, or when we got married, this is what you said, it's written in stone. No, people grow, people change, life happens, situation happen where they might not feel comfortable in certain positions, certain situations, certain touch might not feel pleasurable anymore. So it's okay, but don't make it seem as an attack. Because a lot of time when we speak, we're putting make the person feel like we're blaming them while we're not feeling pleasure. Oh, I wasn't satisfied. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You put in a person in
Mm-hmm.
defense because no, you're not saying a whole lot of you're saying a whole lot of nothing right there. Have those conversations, babe. I know I used to like you like this, and this used to be me pressure,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's I'm stressed out or, can we go for a walk first? Can we, watch a movie first? Can we go out on a date? What will help ignite those passion, right? So if you usually like, well, I just come home from work, we cook, and after the kids, they go to bed, turn on the light. You might say, I don't want that no more. Let's go for a walk. Let's read a book. Let's read something together. Let's watch a podcast. Let's, and have those conversations to bring it in. Because like I said, intimacy is thoughts. It's what's in your mind. It's what you feed your mind. So if you already tell your mind, you know what, it's going to be the same old same. You already tell yourself there's no pleasure there. So no matter what the other person do, if they can't read your mind and you're not verbalizing it, everybody going to be having a displeasure. And then you stop talking to your person, but you could call your girlfriend and everybody else and talk. And the person that you need to have this conversation with, you're shy. Why? When you shy to talk to your person candidly, openly about intimacy and your personal bedroom, you're having a lot of trust issue and you need therapy. You having a lot of trust issue. If you can't have a conversation about the person that you're going to be naked with, hello, right? You are having a lot of trust issue.
Yep.
So therefore, there will be no pleasure there. And then you make it seem like it's the other person. And then you have the other person question themselves, what am I doing wrong? So that's what we're saying. Having this healthy conversation will set the boundaries ahead of time so there's no surprise there. And respecting each other boundaries. Don't use what they said because of whatever the trauma issue might be as a weapon against that person, because that's not love. That's manipulation right there and control. That's not healthy.
Right.
That's not healthy. Healthy boundary aid us in loving our partner and ourselves better, making us feel more better about ourselves, loving our spouse more. Because as Evangelist said earlier, if you already come in and expect your partner to fulfill you, then that relationship has already failed. I'm going to tell you that. It failed before you get in it. If you say this person complete me, is my one and done, my all in all, that relationship is already failed. Because if you can't complete you and be your all in all, how do you expect another mortal to be that? So you have to already come with your own happiness. So the person you're with, you will help them, make them happier. But how are they going to know that? You have to have the conversation. Tell them what is healthy for you. What does healthy look like? Because like I say, how healthy boundaries. What does that look like for you, Evangelist Nikki?
Right.
What does that look like for you, Evangelist Baker? It might be different, but how am I going to know if my partner understand what is healthy for me? Because what might be healthy for him might be unhealthy for you.
True.
When we are going to know this is to have those conversations. Respecting each other conversation. And if it's something that you said it's not for me, well, let me look into it. It might be new to you. Don't say, oh, no, that ain't going to happen. The church said this, the church said that. You don't know where they're coming from. Find out where your spouse is coming from. So give me some time to do some research and get my mind around it so I can understand. You see what I'm saying? But don't just shut down everything. Well, the Bible don't say that. God didn't say that. You know what I mean? And now,
listen,
you're destroying your home.
Don't tell us what to do in the bedroom. It just says, listen, marriage is honorable and all, and the bed is undefiled. So we have to make sure that we are communicating. Yes. Go ahead, Evangelist. I don't think you were finished.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly where we're going. Like I said, it's a continued process. Because like I said, the more people grow, the more people evolve, the more you learn, because relationship is choosing daily to learn more about that person and how I can please that person daily. How can I make that person's life better daily? It's not just, oh, I did this yesterday. It's a daily choosing that person and their need. How can I help you today? How can I help us get better today? How can we please and pleasure each other today? Because like I said, I might like, well, if you know me personally, I'm a pescatarian, right? So the time I come, I said, okay, I want lobster. I'll eat lobster every day. But that's not realistic. There's time I don't care for lobster,
Right.
I might want me some fish or I want me some shrimp or something. The appetite changed. But how the person is going to know? You have to have that conversation and don't assume that, oh, they're supposed to know it was this way. People grow, people change. And that's where we come in with this false expectation, this false narrative, because we expect somebody else to read our mind. Setting healthy boundaries is sitting down, having those conversations, undistracted. Don't wait until the person is, You got to choose your temperament, the temperature of the room. Choose where that person, if the person have a rough day at work today, and you this morning you leave off and you have those conversations, that there's a possibility later on something might happen. It might be traffic. It might be you have an extra task, a project you wasn't expecting, and he feel burned out or she's feel burned out, right? Your spouse. I'm no gender specific, right? So have those conversations and say, well, this morning you got my hopes up. Don't attack the person. You see what I'm saying? Talk to that person like, babe, I know this morning I was feeling this way, but this happened. So you don't feel like, here we go again. You always, the worst thing you can do to a spouse, you never, you always, you know, that's not true. And you put them in fight or flight mode because they're like, hold up. There's no way one person, let me tell you something, like I always said, there's no person 100% good, no person 100% bad. We all have different opportunities at time. And when those arise, we have to know how we communicate. Don't attack the person. Oh, you don't touch me like you used to. You usually bring me flowers. You haven't bring me none anymore. And we come with that attack. I don't feel special no more. Okay. What are you doing? What are you showing the person how you want to be treated? See, a lot of times we come with the boundaries, but then we don't have it for ourselves. You see what I'm saying? We want to set the boundaries for the other person to fulfill. But sometimes we speak those boundaries and we set those boundaries with expectation, but we're not showing those boundaries for ourselves. And that's where the issue comes in a lot of time. Your boundaries have to be your core you. And that's what I said. Don't make the boundary because you watch something or somebody tell you do this. You have to investigate in yourself and say, how can it make me and my spouse better? Because that's what we're all striving for, to be better than the day before. That's evolving, that's growing, that's maturing. But how are we going to know that having those conversations? Sex is a beautiful thing. Intimacy is a beautiful thing. Marriage is a beautiful thing. It's people that make it.
There's people that makes it hard. But let me tell you something. Before you got married and you were sexually active, why would you want to get in married and not be active and not be intimate? And Evangelist Nikki says something. If you decide in the morning that, you know, you're expecting something later and something happened during the day, make sure you talk. Send a text, babe, I know what I said this morning, but listen, I'm not so sure about tonight. So then one is not expecting something and the other, you know, but then by the time the day ends and you come home and he's been telling you how much he loves, he or she been, you know, sending you those messages, and you come home to see your bath ran and dinner cooked, or he brought dinner in just to relieve you of some of the stress. He or she, let me tell you something, that whatever you've gone through, your mind will be back on what you said in the morning. So communication is very important. We talked about that last week, learning how to communicate your boundaries to your spouse. If you're a person who is sharp at the tongue and you're swift at the tongue and you're speaking at the person, you're going to be in trouble. Yes. You're not going to have a lot of intimacy. You're just going to have a lot of destination or the end to the journey, and then you're not going to be pleased. And what I want to say is to the wives, because I know men don't hold out on sex. Man, I haven't met a man yet that held out on sex unless he was cheating with somebody else, or he just didn't have any more feelings for his wife and didn't know how to tell her, right? But men don't hold out on sex. When they're upset with us, they're gonna want theirs, right? But women, we tend to use sex as a tool, and it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. On so many levels, it's wrong, because you're opening up a door for that man to go out, either to become addicted to porn or to go out and get it somewhere from Delilah. Right? And we don't want that. We don't want no strange woman up in our bedrooms, right? We want to be everything that our spouse need, our husbands and wives. We want to be everything. So we have to know how to communicate. I mean,
It is
This
the key. It
portion
is
of the
vital.
boundary setting is so important because, listen, the way you communicate, set that man's head in a certain direction. Now, men sometimes are always saying women are emotional and we react on our emotions. Can I tell you, men are emotional? Because you say something to them the wrong way, you're not going to reach no destination. The journey is going to end abruptly. The journey is going to end abruptly, and you're going to be like, oh, what? So communication is key. And I think I think I said it last week. Speak to your spouse, not at them, right? So we're going to speak to them. It doesn't matter what is going on. Our communication is going to be on a level where even if we're upset, they don't even know.
Yes. Yeah.
They don't even know. So we need to setting that boundary that even sometimes, you know what else is important too with the intimacy? Our body language.
Yes.
Body language.
You can say a lot with your word, but your body is shut down because when they touch a certain way, non-verbal communication is a part of intimacy.
Yeah, that non-verbal communication speaks very loud than our vocals.
Yes,
it speaks so loud, and then sometimes as women we wonder why our spouses won't touch us because our body language is saying, "You better not." Get away from me, So we've got to, ladies, and I'm not beating up on us. I'm just trying to help us, right? I'm trying to help us to get better results in the intimacy portion of the boundaries that we need to set. And when we know how to clarify the different types of boundaries that are important to us, including the sex, listen to me, that is a healthy, when you clarify the intimacy boundary, it makes your marriage healthier.
Right.
Trust and believe me.
And
it makes it healthier
all the time. Evangelist, you know what I found out the other day? I'm learning from some folks because when we're talking about setting healthy boundaries, some person was telling me that they don't like to undress in front of their spouse. So you have to talk about that. Why? You know what I mean? This person that you said
some people, right? And I can kind of understand some persons may be ashamed of their body. Maybe they're not comfortable the way they look.
Right, but let the person know. Because then they're going to think it's something wrong with them. You don't trust me.
Right.
I'm your spouse. Those holy ones like your body is my body and all of that.
Let me tell you something.
Right?
Listen, sometimes I'm scared to get undressed in front of my husband because once my husband see clothes come on, he think that is time, but listen.
I love Mr. Baker.
I can say, ladies, get comfortable with your body, no matter how you look. Look, I'm working on my weight. Because at some point, I want to be bikini ready. You know what I'm saying? And not that I am not bikini ready now, but just for my husband, right? And so, but I want to be bikini ready for me so I can, be strutting my stuff for me. So ladies, if you're not comfortable the way your body looks, listen, there's help for you.
Right, but don't complain about it to your spouse if you're not doing anything
and don't
about
hide
it
from him because he may like your body the way it is. He may like it, but that's where communication comes in. And we've got to communicate. I'm telling you, I can't stress how we need to clarify the boundaries, right?
Because one might like the light on, one might like the light off. That needs to be clarified.
So guess what you do in that situation? You get a night light. So the room is half dark and half lit, right? So, my husband don't like the TV on. It doesn't matter to me, light or dark. It don't.
See, I'm like Mr. Baker now. No TV, no TV. The music, we could
listen,
play some
it doesn't
music,
matter.
but no TV. To me, that's a
It
distraction. The
doesn't matter
music,
for
yeah,
me. It
yeah.
doesn't matter.
I'm picky like
Turn the
that.
TV off, right? But I'm telling you, you have to know, like Evangelist Nikki said, you have to know the temperature of the room when when you're leading up to it to get to the destination. You got to know the temperature. Don't throw the temperature off. You don't want the temperature to get cold, right?
No.
So you want to clarify stuff, and it's important. And it's how we talk, our tone, our body language. Like I said, our body language, that non-verbal communication, who has messed a whole lot of us up. Trust and believe me. And I learned from my mistakes, right? Quick. I learned quick because, like I said, I have to get to the destination along the way. I want to enjoy the ride, right? I want to enjoy it. So we've got to know how to definitely clarify it, setting boundaries, boundaries regarding external relationship is also important. Let me tell you, I saw this this video on TikTok where the wife asked the husband, the wife asked the husband, the husband asked the wife, can he has a best friend of the opposite sex? So she said no. So he said, no, you have to clarify more. Why? I can't have a person of the opposite sex as my best friend. She said, because best friends go out to lunch, they go out to dinner, they go shopping, they go on vacation, they go to dinner, they call each other up when anything is wrong, good or bad. You're telling them how your day was. You're expressing everything, right, to them. Important information about your life. You're telling this person. So she said, would you want me to be going on a vacation with the opposite sex? He said, oh no. So she said, okay, we're done here, right? So you have to set that boundary. That boundary have to be set. Now, I'm not saying that me personally, I'm not saying that your spouse cannot have female friends, because my husband is an associate pastor. So he speaks to women all the time, the women at the church, right? I don't have a problem with that. I'm not insecure. I'm secure in my relationship. However, if I see somebody moving funny, best believe Marcia is going to step in, right? Not Evangelist, but Marcia Baker is going to step in, right? Because we know, we can sense stuff, that eighth sense.
Oh, we got a discerning spirit there. That discernment
right?
will kick in.
So, but healthy boundaries, when you have healthy boundaries, trust and believe me, ladies and gentlemen, your relationship is on its way to being healthy and successful. And that's the goal of this ministry, to foster healthy relationship between marriages, one couple at a time. That's what we want. If this broadcast can save one marriage each week we come on, if this broadcast can save a marriage from separation and or divorce, we have won. We have won, because that's what we want to do. We want to get one couple at a time to change their mind about separation, to change their mind about divorce, to change their mind about splitting up, about arguing. I'm telling you, so every aspect of your marriage, we will be discussing. We're going to have tools and instrumental stuff to help you foster healthy relationship. If your relationship is in turmoil now, don't worry. We will help you on the journey. If you need help, if you need more help, you say, no, this half an hour is just not enough. Listen, reach out to us, Marcia Baker Ministries at gmail.com. We will sit you down and we will speak with you. It won't be for free. It won't be for free. It will be at a cost that you can afford. All right. So I'm gonna just say that I do have my degree in counseling. So that qualifies me to charge you to have a one-on-one, right? But here on the half an hour, and I know it's not enough, between myself and Evangelist Nikki, it's not enough time, but it's just enough to whet your appetite to put you on the path of getting your relationship straight. Like last week when I got finished, persons were messaging me, even on the live, persons were saying, wow, they never knew that. They need to set boundaries. Listen, let me tell you something. Boundaries are very, very important. Very important. Evangelist Nikki, say your last say, and then we're going to come in with an announcement.
Yes, definitely. As Evangelist said, and then we mentioned earlier, if you have not started setting those boundaries and you're feeling overwhelmed because you let everything, you just flow with everything just to be accepted, you have to identify your why. Why am I allowing this? And now it's becoming a problem and driving a wedge between you and your spouse. So that's what we're saying. The conversation needs to be had, and we need to have them in love. We need not to speak at our partner, but have those dialogue in love. Let your word be seasoned with grace and honey, right? Don't do the attack. Don't say you, say hi. Put it on you because it's you, how you are feeling, not your spouse. Because they might be fine with everything that's happening. And if it's impacting you, you have to take responsibility, have those conversations, let your partner know this is how it makes me feel. And if we do this, this is how I feel. Give them the whipping, right? Don't just throw things at them. So they understand what is in it for both of us, right? So we all come out winning because we are together as a couple to become one and happier. So boundaries is not an attack. Boundaries is saying that I don't have it right and you're the wrong person, right? It's saying that, listen, this is how I feel. This is how this helps us be better. Instead of watching things falling apart and you're complaining, instead of complaining, have those conversations. Healthy boundaries start with sitting down, having those conversations. Conversation is the key to having a healthy boundaries. And we're not going to kid you. Some of these conversations might be awkward, especially when it comes on to intimacy and your belief on intimacy. It might be awkward. It might be difficult. We're not going to say all the conversation is going to be easy. It might be a heated discussion. You might have different conflict, but come back together before you finish that dialogue, before you finish that setting, that you guys come back together with an understanding that we're here to help each other. So don't leave upset. Make sure at the end you guys kiss and make up. Okay?
That's right. That's right.
And start the healthy journey. It starts with you. We have to be that change that we want to see. And it starts with us.
Amen. Thank you so much. I'm telling you, if we can get the communication piece down, we have won. Half the battle is over. Everything else will fall in place. If that communication can be successful and we do it correct, let me tell you something. We have won the battle. Amen. Listen, thank you for joining us. Listen, we've come to the end of this season, of this quarter for Prayer for Marriages. We're going to take a break to regroup and refuel. We've been going since January. We've been going. And we're going to take a break to come back. We probably will pick up with this again, boundaries, because there's a lot more stuff to be discussed when we come back. So we're going to take the month of May off to rest, recuperate, to refresh and refocus and come back with a bigger smile, both of us, right? So I want you to, in the interim that we're not here, you don't see us live for the next 4 weeks. Don't feel bad. We'll be back the first Monday in June, and we will be back better. We have to rest. Ladies, listen, I work full-time. Evangelist Nikki work full-time. We're both mothers. We're both wives. And so we have to spend some time with our families because we don't want our families falling apart saving yours, all right? But we love what we do, but we have to take a break, all right? So with that being said, this is our last session for this month until June. The first Monday is June. And also, if you have any questions or comments that you would like to make, Nikki, Evangelist Nikki, Evangelist Nikki alluded to it, reach out to us. Tell us what you want to discuss. Send us a message, email us and tell us, hey, listen, can you discuss ABCD topic? don't worry, we will do it for you. All right. So we just want to say thank you again. We're not leaving you. If you've missed out any session, you can always go back on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page and look at the sessions. I'm telling you, there's a plethora of information on the channel that you will enjoy. Go back to January when we were praying. My God, when we were praying and breaking strongholds and stuff like that. So go back and rewatch the sessions. And if you have not yet liked, share, or subscribe to this ministry, MarciaBakerMinistry.com. Please like, share, subscribe, and we love you. We thank you. We give God praise for you. See you when we come back in June. Amen. God bless you. Your girl, Marcia Baker, and Evangelist Nick is saying, have a happy, healthy May until we see you again in June. All right. And we have a good session. Have a good night. All right. God bless you all.